Hey guys, Morgan's Maintenance, episode 32 of Guess the Trade. Got a new loadout that we're going to look at today, but first let's talk about episode 31. We looked at Justin Richards' loadout, or Justin Spackable. He had that Vito Tech Pack along with a Milwaukee Pack-Out bag. It wasn't like a tool bag, but one of those that holds like you can put several things in it, just a wide open bag. Also some everyday carry stuff. What was it that he did with those tools? He said that he is a residential journeyman. He also does commercial and service type work as an electrician, and he lives in the Chicagoland area. So that makes sense with all those hoodies that he has because it can get quite cold there. He also did a really good job of answering a lot of the questions that I had and some other people had in the comments. So I really appreciate that. So thanks for sending in your loadout. Today we're going to look at one loadout only, and that is Steve's Wood Shop and Tool Reviews. So just in the name itself, you can probably guess what his trade is. But he's also got we're going to look at his wood shop, but he's also got a Vito DP3 and what I think is a OTMC. I'm not 1,000% sure on that. So I guess we could guess what it is that we think he does with those two tool bags, and then also take a look at his wood shop as well. But let's go ahead and jump into his pictures. We're going to go ahead and jump into his workshop. Here is like a panoramic type view, so you can see the whole thing. We're going to go around this, but he's got Festool, he's got Pack-Out. Also, I think it's like Bora or something like that holding his lumber up there. I've got those back in my barn. They work really well. Also, a large bandsaw, Recon. I don't know how you say that one there. Dust extractor, a couple toolboxes. Looks like a Laguna table saw. Nice workbench there. Lots of power tools on that back wall. We'll see those in just a minute. Drum sander, belt sander, disc sander, Bosch router. Over here we got a smaller bandsaw, also a DeWalt planer. I don't know what that big box up there, that's wind. Maybe that's an air filter, I guess. So really nice workshop right there. Looks like you get a lot done. Lots of tools in there, lots of toolboxes. We'll go, over here he's also got the Klein Tools clock over there. I see that. I kind of like that orange background. I think I like that better than the one that I've got. So we'll go on to the next one. So this is that back wall of tools. You can see that back there in this back wall. It looks like he's got all sorts of brands of tools from Milwaukee, DeWalt, Flex, Rigid. He's got the Bosch miter saw. I'm not going to zoom in as much on these because they get a little blurry. He's got the Bosch miter saw that doesn't slide. It's got like that rotating arm type thing. I forget what the specific name for that is, but all sorts of routers, sanders. Next picture looks like he's got the Rigid track saw, M12 batteries, M18 batteries, DeWalt, Flex, Rigid, Vera screwdrivers. Let's see, Milwaukee speed squares. I don't know if that's a woodpecker down there below that. I've got a generic brand that works out really well for me on that, but he's got that. And then that looks like the Milwaukee frame and square as well. So he's got those there. Next picture, stack of Milwaukee Pack-Out on dolly. He's got them all labeled there. I think we see some of them here in a little bit. And then Festool sustainers. Next picture. So here's all his tracks. So again, he's got the Milwaukee track saw and the Rigid track saw. So just for curiosity's sake, and you might even have some videos. Again, he started a channel. He might have a video on these. I might want to go look it out and see. But if you have a preference already, Rigid or Milwaukee, of course, Milwaukee came out a little bit later. I think it did. So maybe you bought that because you wanted to see if it was better than the Rigid. So go ahead and let people know that down below, Steve. He's also got a little giant ladder. That's probably my favorite brand of ladders typically. Next picture over here, he's got a Jet. I don't know if is that like a sander, it looks like, maybe, where you can run it through, possibly. I'm not real familiar with the Jet tools. I know they got several different tools. I don't know if that's like one of those sanders where you can run like cabinet doors through it and stuff like that. Also a big clamp collection over there, as any woodworker is going to have. So go ahead and tell us, Steve, what your favorite clamp is. People might want to know that as well. People ask me, but I don't use them enough to know one's crazy better than the other. So inside of one of his drawers here, this is a Cobalt toolbox. Looks like there's a bunch of different drill bits, Forster bits, regular drill bits, the fast cutting speed bore bits, Brad Point drill bit set. So lots of different bits inside of there. We'll go to the next picture. Here's a bunch of different clamps. I can't really read. Looks like Kyluk or something like that. I've not heard of those. So those are some clamps there, along with some just different variant ones. Next picture. Sometimes whenever I scroll back, it doesn't want to go to the next picture unless you get it all the way down. So here's a Craig pocket hole kit, along with some different pocket holes. So big assortment of that. Here is some sanding discs. So he's got Diablo the sand net, also some 3Ms, some of the Milwaukee ones for the M12 detail sander, also some Festool ones as well. So just some sanding pads. Another drawer here. We've got some of the 3M. This is the sandpaper that everybody talks about all the time. I've never personally used it, so I'm interested in people's feedback. If you've used all this kind of sandpaper, I've seen it on all kinds of the woodworking people's YouTube videos that I watch. But would you buy it just for general use type stuff, or does it need to be for specific, like you're building fine grade furniture or whatever it might be? But I just use stuff for sand and trim and stuff a lot of times after I've installed it, getting my corners cleaned up and all those kinds of things. But let me know what your feedback is on that below. I know it's pretty expensive, but I know a lot of people really like it and like to use it. Next picture. Here's all his oscillating tool blades. He's got some of those Diablos. I still haven't tried those yet. And then lots of Ryobi's. Looks like he goes to Home Depot, and if they're on sale, he goes ahead and buys them up. That's the same thing I've done with Milwaukee ones, and that's why I have so many of them. There's some more of that sandpaper as well. Here are some sockets inside of some magnetic holders. I almost went that route whenever I was looking for holders, but I ended up going with that peg style just because I felt like I could fit more in there. But he's got those, and looks like a gear wrench ratchet. Here's all his saw blades, it looks like. So Forest Manufacturing Company, also Freud or Freud. I don't know how you. I've heard that called both ways as well. So there's some saw blades. Here is a M18 drill, and then also a flex drill. A lot of people really like the flex stuff. Not a lot of people I know. I don't know anybody personally that has any of it, but I know a lot of people seem to like the power of it and stuff like that. So there's his drills. Looks like this is his oscillating tools. He's got a couple of the DeWalt's, and then also he's got a DeWalt drill in there. So again, he has all kinds of tools. And in a wood shop or in a workshop, it doesn't bother me. Like if I was only working out of this room here, I wouldn't care to have 2 or 3 battery platforms because it's easy to have chargers and batteries sitting on them. I just try to stick into Milwaukee with my work stuff because I don't want to have to carry a bunch of different brand batteries and chargers in my truck every single day. I feel like it's better for me to carry one thing. But again, working out of my garage, it doesn't matter to me if I have to go grab a CC battery or whatever else it might be. I'm not going to ever put that tool in my truck, and I've got plenty of outlets in here. It doesn't bother me a bit to change out tools, so I don't have a problem with people running multiple things. But I always try to stick with Milwaukee myself. But he's got a lot of different tools of different kinds. So continuing on, here's some M12. There's the Hacksaw. That's the non-fuel version. That one I never really had much luck with. It didn't really cut a whole lot, and the fuel one's not like awesome, but it's really handy to fit in places, and it typically cuts stuff too. But then he's got the installation driver. He's got it foam fitted inside of that case there. Up in the next one, he's got his cordless ratchets. Looks like he's got some M12 and then also some DeWalt 12-volt ones as well. Up here, those are all his, again, there's some batteries, some screwdrivers, T-handles. There's his nailers. So he's got some Milwaukee rigid and Metabo nailers. I really like Milwaukee nailers. I really like Metabo nailers. And I've had a rigid nailer. I had a 15 gauge rigid nailer back before I sold all my rigid tools. Whenever I was trying to compile, I used to run Bosch rigid. I had a little bit of DeWalt. And then whenever I started going to Milwaukee, that's when I started transitioning to, I'm going to try to move into one platform so that I can work out of my truck a little easier. But Metabo nailers are phenomenal. I really like Milwaukee, and the rigid one that I had was pretty good too. Going on to this next picture, again, there's some jigsaws, also a rigid router and a rigid track saw. Let's see if I can see the name on that. Nah, it's still a little blurry whenever I zoom in. Lots of pencils down there. Also has a Metabo light Klein tape measure, it looks like. Also a Stanley tape measure. Over here, we've got rigid Sawzall, Milwaukee fuel. Looks like oscillating tool. a rigid sander, DeWalt sander, flex sander, every router it looks like of every brand. A rigid belt sander up there at the top. And then there's that Milwaukee table saw or track saw along with the Metabo belt sander. So again, Steve's got all kinds of tools. I'm going to go check out his channel some more. I went and kind of glanced at it when he first emailed me, but I've been super busy. I haven't even hardly watched any YouTube this week, but I'm curious to see if he's got some reviews for some of these tools on there. But we're going to go on to the next picture. Here's Flex circular saw, DeWalt plunge router. Again, more rigid. There's a planer. Also looks like a grinder and then a small rigid grinder. There's some hand tools right there hanging on a rack. And also a T-square. Let's see, next picture. So now we're going to get into the bag. So that was all of his workshop as far as what he shared with us. I'm sure he didn't open up every single tool drawer because he had all kinds of tool drawers. Like even behind us there, you can see lots of different drawers, stuff like that. So again, I think this is the Vito OTMC because I think this was the very first Vito bag that I bought. And then I don't have it anymore. I ended up selling it to somebody who was looking for an open tote. A really nice open tote, but this was the Vito that I actually saw in Johnstone, and that was the one that kind of led me. I saw it there. I never had heard of Vito before. I started searching Vito on YouTube after I saw that bag, but whenever I saw this tote in Johnstone, I was like, man, that is a nice looking tool bag. And then I remember flipping the price tag over. I don't remember what it was. I want to say it was $229 or something like that, maybe $189, somewhere along those lines. I was just like, nope. I'm not paying that for some tool bag. But then after I went home and I started watching YouTube videos and I started looking at it and everybody's talking about them, I'm like, well, maybe it's not that bad of a price. If it's going to last me like forever and I can get used to putting my tools in a certain bag all the time, same spot, but I bought it. I liked it. I mean, I could tell the quality was there. It kind of put me in Vito, even though I didn't keep using that when I kind of started going to other things. But that was the bag that kind of drew me into Vito because it's a really high quality bag. It's just, I just decided I didn't like the open tote type stuff. So, but he's got that right there. And again, I'm pretty sure that's what that is. And then he's got that DP3. So he probably ordered these at the same time, maybe during the spring promotion. So we'll go through these. He's got all the tools out kind of for the most part. He doesn't have all of them. So he's got an M12 driver in there. Klein gloves. Those ended up being the best in my opinion for the price in my little testing that I did, and I've been wearing them kind of different. And the Klein tape measure, I don't think I saw some of those things on this next picture. So yeah, this is the very last picture. So this is all the tools we're going to see. He's got the Milwaukee level right there, torpedo level. That's the one I keep in my bag. I love it. Klein slotted, looks like a small slotted insulated screwdriver along with the Weehaw Phillips. He's got the Klein flip socket on the probably a 20-in-1. He might have bought it all at one time with the 9/16. Also the Purdy scraper. I can tell he's either got the same taste as me or he's been watching some of my videos as well. He's got that Klein 8-in-1 stubby there. Tough built folding jab saw. The Stud Buddy. The Jokers right there, those are still on my watch list of things. One day I'm going to end up buying some of those. I just haven't really felt the need to yet, but if I find the right deal, they're going to end up being at my house. He's also got a ratchet there. He's got the Knipex end cutting type pliers. Let's see, this is an Ideal stripper right there. I don't know that I've ever even seen that one. That's kind of got a neat little look to it. Also a kind of angle gauge. Small pair of vice grips with more of a, it's not exactly a needle nose, but more of a thin profile. Precision screwdriver. We'll go on up. He's also got a Zyklop from Vera and a Tool Check Plus with the metric. Twin grips. Weehaw needle nose. Some 180 pliers wrench. Also a Weehaw set of tongue and groove type pliers or alligator pliers. They've got that standard type operation of like an alligator, and he's got the 180 Cobras, some Weehaw bit sets. Also, I don't know if those might be Tough Built shears, maybe the color wise, that's what they kind of look like. I don't know if those are Tough Built or Fiskars. Work Pro kind of what I have for the Cobalt cutters from Knipex. Also, small Milwaukee flashlight, small O-light, the Woobin E7. Those are all three really good lights that he has right there. Weehaw hex key set, it looks like. Those look like they are SAE. Also a small trim square by Swanson. Klein 16-foot tape measure, Pika 3030. Let's see, a chisel. Also the Irwin foldable chisel. So that's a lot like the Stanley one, except for the Irwin brand. I bought that fast cap set. I really like those. Also has a Sunex knife and then a magnetic pickup tool and a nail punch and then maybe a putty knife. I don't know if I said that before. So there's all the tools that are in his bags there. So again, there is his DP3 and his, I think, OTMC. Let me go back and scroll through these, and I'll end whenever we get to his overall workshop, just to give you one last look at that. Lots of pictures to go through to get there. Let's see, maybe a couple more. Yeah, right there. So there, we'll end on that picture right there. There's his wood shop. But that's a really nice wood shop. And again, it's pretty easy to say, well, obviously he's a woodworker for his trade. He's got a wood shop there. So I guess the question for the guest of trade is, he has that Vito DP3 and then also that OTMC. What is it that he does with the tools? Like, what kind of task is it that you think that he does with those tools? Drop that in the comments below. Maybe you've got some questions for him on some of the tools. Again, go check out his channel. Maybe he's got reviews for some of those questions that you're asking about, because it is Steve's Wood Shop and Tool Reviews. So go check that out as well. I appreciate you sending them in. But as always, I hope that this video was interesting in some way. Maybe it helps you see organization skills. Maybe it helps you see a tool that you didn't know existed. Hopefully it helps in some way. But you guys stay safe. Have a blessed day. We'll see you on the next video.